What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoundHound. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what just came out associated to SoundHound, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So SoundHound is having a pretty solid day, up 5.45%, 1075 the low, 1129 the high, and rather low volume. But then again, it's not just SoundHound that's experiencing that, that's happening across the board. So there is a certain level of hesitation coming from institutions. And oddly enough, there isn't really all that much in data points this upcoming week that could change that. So most likely it is going to be linked to rate cuts. That's what big institutions are going to be truly waiting for. So again, that in among itself could be a good catalyst for SoundHound. But when it comes down to SoundHound, they did actually put out news early this morning. So SoundHound AI announces 3 major global automotive brands have rolled out its category leading chat AI assistant in North America. So key is North America. So I know SoundHound has a lot of partnerships, automotive partnerships, but the ones that actually work and have business in North America is Stellantis, Lucid, and I can't for the life of me think of the third one. So I don't know if this is essentially a Easter egg on what could be coming in their upcoming earnings. Maybe they're announcing a third one, or maybe one of their previous ones is expanding to North America, or maybe I just can't think of it. So if you are aware of the third one, let me know in the comments below. But nonetheless, they did mention in their last earnings that this technology was in its infant stages and that there was going to be a big update coming. So this is the big update, and you can do a hell of a lot of things from just looking at the example right here. So this in among itself is a pretty good catalyst and should, in theory, spread very fast to other automakers. I think the big one would be Tesla, of course, but I think just being in Lucid is going to get it a lot of visibility across the board. And also in reality, I do also think that there could be a lot of Chinese EVs that pick up on this technology, because SoundHound has actually started to venture eastward. So maybe that again could have some correlation down the line. But for face value on this actual PR, it doesn't list the 3. And yeah, it just brings up the general kind of what you can do. So I think this is a pretty good thing. Let me know your viewpoint on that. Shorts aren't really doing all that much. So at the time of doing this video, they are increasing 140,000 shares. Going into the earnings, being all-time high short interest is rather insane if you ask me. So 34.62% of the free floats being shorted works out to be 125.02 million shares overall are being shorted. I know a lot of people love to hate on SoundHound, but the fact that 34 or 35% of the free floats being shorted and SoundHound can actually hold anywhere remotely to these gains, I think is rather impressive if you ask me. But in general, with their earnings coming up, on a side note, I'm going to be live streaming that, but with their upcoming earnings, if they do give some good future guidance, then that could really shake things up and potentially prompt a squeeze. Bar has been set very low for the key metrics, so -5 cents for the earnings per share, 32.88 million for the revenue, and then over the last 90 days you have 0 positive and 5 negative revisions to the earnings per share. And a lot of those revisions are from the recent analyst ratings, so Piper Sandler, Northland, HC Wainwright, and so forth. So most likely they have kind of assumed that earnings per share is going to be a little bit lower. So again, something just to keep in mind. But looking at options, so 3.74 million in calls, 887,000 in puts. 44% of all the options being done today, though, are bullish in nature. So there's a certain level of optimism, and that is very abnormal. That's not really happening across the board. Rather, you're seeing a lot of bearish options in the broader market. So this definitely does stand out. Just so you're aware, so the implied move for SoundHound's earnings, I know I did bring this up over the weekend, but in case you didn't see that video, 10.8 is that implied move. So it could be roughly like $1.20 in either direction. So anticipate a lot of volatility as a byproduct of their earnings. And then when it comes to the bulls, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that 12 to 12.50 for the end of this week. So that would be encumbering their earnings. Then the bears are anticipating for it to be kind of sub 10.50 to 11. So kind of within that set volatility range from the options. These are all the transactions occurring on the dark pool. above $100,000. So very active stuff. So this goes to show that institutions, hedge funds, and shorts are all fairly active. So that's definitely good to see leading into their earnings. And also on a side note, the fact that SoundHound actually did put this news out a couple days before their earnings, it is a signal that they are confident, because normally you see this radio silence leading into the earnings. So yeah, I think the fact that they did put this out shows that they are impressed, at least. So let me know your viewpoint on that in the comments below. But with it at 11.22, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So 11.26 is going to be that key point to really get over today. I know it's already up 5.55%, but best case scenario, it does close above this pivot. Then you'll see a very nice continued push higher. And most likely tomorrow, you should see a certain level of FOMO, most likely. So again, that's where you might hit that 1266, but it's all going to come down to the data. So for today, just watch for 11.26. And then there hasn't been any new analyst ratings, but because of the earnings this week, we'll get probably a good 3 or 4 new ones. No real articles really coming out associated to SoundHound or anything like that. And then on the actual chart, things are pretty good. So I know it kind of seemed down and out going into this upcoming week, but it was able to successfully get back over that 50 and also 200-day moving averages. So 11 or 1091 is going to be that 200-day moving average. That's going to be another element to really watch for it to hold in the next couple trading days. And then the 50-day moving average is at 1069. This has been the saving grace. It kind of bounced off of that 100-day moving average at 995. So lucky to those individuals that did kind of buy the dip when there was a lot of fear. But nonetheless, I think it's all going to come down to the data and what they give for future guidance. Going into their earnings, you see stochastic RSI very oversold. That could really stand to benefit it and help it really push higher. So let me know your viewpoint on that. I don't feel because of the earnings you'll see these like $20 ranges just yet, unless we see some like M&A or whatever else. But I think just from their earnings in among itself, it should really push it at least above that $12 range, in my opinion. So let me know your thoughts on SoundHound. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.